Yeah.
Are we ready to clap?
Yep. We're actually recording. Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Mind Your Own Small Business, the podcast that is better than a coffee break, cheaper than therapy, which is awesome because I'm going to need therapy. After this, couples therapy. We'll see. So, this is... Well, first off...
Yeah.
Let's address the
elephant.
So it's been 4 to 6 weeks since the last
Closer
episode.
to 6.
Been a hot minute.
That's because I had some.
He almost died.
Twice, but I got better. Maybe.
Obviously.
So we went on a little break because of that, but we're jumping back into it slowly but
Are
surely.
you going to give any details about why you almost died?
So I had gallbladder problems. They went undiagnosed for almost a year, which triggered an immune response where it's called hemolysis, where your white blood cells try to kill your red blood cells. And apparently you need hemoglobin in order to live. And so it took them a while to figure out what was going on with me. They finally figured it out. I have me on immunosuppressants. They're weaning me off of that. And
Steroids we can use.
yeah, steroids. We can say steroids.
Can we?
They're
Just
using the
FYI,
steroids.
he is hard to deal with when he's on steroids.
Yes, the massive dumps of adrenaline make me a little ornery, but I'm on a third of the dose I was when I was
It's getting better.
most ornery, so I'm a lot better now.
I found you quite pleasant.
Did you?
Yeah, I didn't.
Because we had several arguments during the last few weeks.
Yeah, the thing is that we don't sleep in the same room, so there's a little bit of a different dynamic in our relationship.
Feel
But yeah,
uninvited.
the funny thing is my D&D group said I was more fun to be around because I was, but like when I get ornery in small doses, it's funny, but apparently in large doses, it's just annoying.
Very.
But yeah, that
Doesn't help because I'm a raging hormonal woman.
yeah, women, right?
Am I right?
She said it, not me.
Yeah.
I did.
Totally.
I did. I'm giving you free reign to do that.
We won't even touch it. We'll let you say all
Right,
those things.
You can say all that stuff. We'll just smile, nod,
Or emotionless, I think, is a safer bet. Just
yeah, just don't react, stone face. It's like
Yeah.
very interesting
that's
take there.
probably-
that's one take to go.
But yeah, so now we're jumping back into it. We're going to try to get back weekly. We have one more podcast that will be released before this one. So I'm going to put an editor note in it.
I also have something I'd like to contribute. If there's a Russian hack group that was listening to this and decided to hack a small town's hospital, shame on you.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
That have at the
Because that
same
caused
time.
so much
Yeah.
issues with his health.
We're a little disappointed in you that you didn't take our advice and starting a different, more philanthropic business seriously. So shame on you, Russian hackers. Shame on you.
They could have been Chinese. We don't know.
Definitely Russian.
No rush.
I had Russian all over it.
Okay. No, but yeah. Yeah, that was a crazy thing is I had to go meet with the only blood specialists. Their hospital was shut down because of a cyber attack. So that delayed all of my treatments by like a week and a half because of it. It was great. I loved it. Highly recommend. 10 out of 10.
Hacking
No.
or
How about 0 out of 0?
Yeah, 0 out of
do
0.
that?
would not recommend.
0 out of 10.
Yeah. So guests on today. So first, I'm Brian. This is
I'm Rachel.
my wife.
His woof.
My wife
And business partner.
and business partner. She owns half my business. So
And do like 80% of the work. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, that's true. It was 100% for a couple weeks there,
It was. It's a really good thing we're in our slow season right now.
and then
I'm pepperoni.
yeah. So we were thinking about talking about just stuff today.
Good direction. This is
This is a focus podcast.
I was gonna say so a book. What do they call that? A page burner? What's a book that you what's it called? What's the term?
A page turner.
A page turner. And then what's the same term for like a movie? Like where you just can't you can't put it down. I don't know,
I know, like,
You're
binge worthy maybe.
yeah.
maybe that's more of a TV show though.
So what would a
Edge of your
podcast be?
seat kind of thing.
I don't know.
Because whatever that term is, this is not that. You're like, we're gonna talk about stuff, and it's like that's a great hook.
Yeah.
People listening are like, oh, what could it be?
Yeah,
There's so many things.
Well, because the two things that we really wanted to talk about was one about cutting corners because of recent events, and then two was spouses / business
relationships?
partners and how that works. And so
I think that would be a fascinating one, but I think there has to be a mediator because I feel I could be totally
Isn't
wrong.
that why you're here?
Well, I'd like to be on the record as stating that I think we might need one, but it depends on, I guess, your roid level.
it's down a little bit.
All right, so I think we should do that one. I think we should do because
spousal
we have
one?
we have a
a spouse
different
on.
perspective. So
It's true.
Okay. What do you think about me just leaving in the morning and coming back in the evening with like a bunch of stuff cut?
oof.
Just disappearing.
Yeah, and just working on
it's-
stuff for several hours.
It's only frustrating when you're gone a lot longer than you say you will be.
That's true. That's true. But the thing is that, like, a lot of the time, the reason I'm gone longer is because I've run into unexpected problems that I have to solve while I'm here. Mm-hmm. And so
And
it's,
I'm not here watching it happen, so I don't
I know. And
that.
so, you, like,
We have cameras.
yeah, we could give you
Do
access
you
to
want
the
to give
camera.
me access to the cameras?
Right?
If you
Would
really
I even
want
be able
to.
to tell
You're
what
watching
he's
him. I don't care
doing?
what you do with it.
You're like, hey, get off your phone. Get home. I eat dinner now.
If you're on your phone, that means I can get a hold of you.
Yeah, that's true. And usually you call me and you're like, hey, when are you going to be home? And I'm like, oh, no, it's cutting right now. There were voids in the last one, so I had to recut half the stuff.
Yeah.
So let me ask: would it be better to get a play-by-play from him of like everything he's doing?
No, I don't need every minute of what he's doing.
Like just once an hour. Hey, the last cut didn't work. I'm going to be an
Just if
extra
he's getting
40
close
minutes.
to the time frame where he said he was going to be done, just to like a heads up, like I'm going to be a little longer. That's helpful.
Why can't you do that?
You do
Brian?
that every once in a while.
Everyone, yeah.
Every once in a while you do
because
that.
you've gotten after me enough that I know that I need to.
Training him.
But the
no,
main
I can't train this man.
Yeah, I'm a little too ornery.
Yes, he's too stubborn. No, honestly, he's too stubborn.
I am. But the main thing is that I don't pay attention to what time it is. Like I'm task oriented, and time just isn't important to me. Like there's deadlines that we had to hit, like shipping and things like that. And as long as I hit those deadlines, I'm not worried about like the play-by-play, hour by hour. Like I'll eat when I'm hungry, and the problem is like, hey, it's 6:00, it's dinner time, and then I'm like, oh. Okay. I still have to finish XYZ, and that's where the big disconnect comes, is that like you're schedule oriented and I'm task oriented.
Kids schedule oriented.
That's true. Well, you also like schedules.
A little bit. But I have been in that point where, especially when I'm editing a photo session, like I forget about time.
When you get into a task oriented mode and then yeah.
And then we eat
Then
dinner
it's
at
fine.
9:00 instead of at 6.
Yeah, because I don't care at all. But then
And
anyways.
kids are eating snacks all evening.
But yeah, so
But
I
yeah,
don't know.
it's interesting having. So I don't know, like, what was I going to say? When you were working a 9 to 5 job, or more of yours was 10 to 7.
Yes, I was a 10 to 7 second shift.
That's right. And
Like
9 to 5.
I had to I just had to be okay with him not being around for that time. And I think I remember you guys had an episode earlier about like
Work-life balance.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I remember there are days definitely where I'm like, well, I need you more. Whereas I used to be able to get by without you being there. So it's definitely interesting making sure I'm letting you work versus
That's
having
interesting
you
to me.
available. Because now it's nice to say, oh, I need to go run an errand. Can you be home with the kids so I don't have to take them with me?
And then I remember you bringing up an issue with that because you're like, my time is important.
It is.
Can't just.
I guess because I guess the frame of mind that I have is like if he were working a 9 to 5,
I wouldn't have access.
right?
Yeah.
then why is the entrepreneurship less important than the 9 to 5?
Because I'm half of that business. So I see myself as equal.
Is your wife part of your business too?
Yep.
So that's
For
interesting.
tax reasons.
In actuality,
Yeah, no, I mean, we consult each other on anything, but I guess she realizes that I have the skills that have built the business, and as non-rude as I can put this, it's a stay in your lane kind of thing. Because it's like, I have over almost 2 decades worth of experience doing this. I'm okay for like insights into the way things should be. But ultimately, I have the experience and
You're the one working.
law
100%
rules, right? Like the person doing the job or that has the most experience is the one that ends up, I think, should be making the call.
Yes, very true. Sorry, I have autofocus
zap.
turned on.
There are definitely things that I let him just be in charge of. Like he's a lot more comfortable running the cutter than I am. I know how to use our little one at home really well, but the one here, I'm just like, this is a monster. So I'm definitely happy to let him use it. In some ways, yes. I just haven't spent a lot of time with it. And like 3D printers, I don't touch the 3D printers because a couple of times I've tried to help, like reload the filament and stuff. I've messed up 2 days worth
Yeah,
of
because
printing.
if you move the head at all, then you can just.
So I just don't touch the 3D printers.
They're not a simple bed. I got away with unleveling a bed for a whole year
It's true. It's true.
and still printed quite a few things. But now, having done it the right way, what could have been? What could have been?
No, it's just crazy to me because we come up with product designs together. We're very involved, and then you do a lot of the listing creation.
Yep.
And then I'll
The
run
photography for it and everything.
ads, and you do a lot of the finance stuff. I take care of that. So like we share the business load pretty
Evenly.
substantially.
Who does
Like,
customer service?
We both do, depending on who's available at the moment. I do more often.
You do more often, but like I
We always
usually
talk
have
about
to
it before we answer.
coach you a lot
Yes.
because
That would be an interesting thing to discuss.
customer service and coaching.
Yeah.
Because like I worked customer service, so I did customer service for Home Depot and Menards. So I did like their returns desk, so I had to deal with that, and then I did customer service for an internet service provider for a few years.
Over the phone.
I find it very interesting that you were fine to mention Home Depot, but this internet telecommunications company, you've never mentioned their name before.
Because I really don't like them.
I know, but I just find that like super interesting that
Because I'm happy to
you're
name
like
them
making a conscious effort to not name them.
because I liked the way that Home Depot and Lowe's ran their business.
You mean Menards?
Yeah, Menards, Lowe's is fine too. Home Depot
This is
and
our life.
Menards, they actually were great to work with. I liked the management. I liked the promotion structure. The way that the other company I worked for was just garbage.
To be fair, I don't disagree with you. I think that their product absolutely sucks and that they are light years behind.
A lot of other.
And to get caught up to where the industry standards are now, they would have to do tremendous leaps and then.
But they're
constantly
cutting a
evolving.
lot of corners when it comes to
Yeah.
customer service. They're making it harder and harder for the people that are working there because no one else wants to join the company. So the people that are there are taking and shouldering more and more responsibility. They're trying to like funnel it down. So like they had it so that you were running chat at the same time you were running phone.
Audio.
And so, like that's insane. That's the work of 2 people,
Yeah.
and they're not paying you any extra.
Right.
And they also combined 3 departments worth of work while I was working there into a single department and gave us a $2 raise.
Listen, that $2 goes a long way in India.
Yeah, but I was doing 3 people's worth of work.
India.
Yeah, but
Where his call center was probably based out of.
no, and then they do a lot of what is it? Strategic partners, so
Yeah.
India-based call centers, and so then you get these ones where and then
Miscommunication, like
there's
they're
the
offering things
miscommunication,
that aren't actually being
but the thing
offered.
is that so there's service buckets where you're supposed to stick in your lane. And if you dealt with anyone whose problem was like right in the center of two people's lanes, you'd get someone who would bounce it back and forth like 5 times. And then because I'm a decent human being, I'd pony up and like help that person. But at that point, they're so mad that they just unload on you. It's like, and you're like, okay, well, let me get you to someone else then. I knew I had to leave when I started hanging up on customers.
Yeah.
Because it was also around the pandemic, and so people were getting more ornery anyways. And
Hey, you ended up working for a year from home.
yeah, and it got to the point where I was just like, you know what, like my
He
mental
would-
health is more important.
He would
than,
take 15-minute breaks for his mental health.
yeah,
after bad
because
calls.
it got bad because people would just dog on you, and so it was like I need to get out of this. And so then I went to work for a small business, but then the shipping prices exploded, and then they canned me because
They didn't have
the
the
cost
budget.
of a container went up 3 times, and so they needed to
Yeah.
make up the budget. So that's why we started our business, which we talked about in the first episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
I
don't know.
am super grateful he's not in that company anymore.
Yeah, that was
It was a hard couple of years.
I'm sorry.
Listen,
Unprofessional.
Oh my word.
But yeah.
So did you ever get as emotionally worn out working for this other company as you did for Home Depot and Menards?
No,
Okay.
because like it got really bad once we got out of the office. Because like when you're working in an office and you take your breaks, you can sit down and talk with the other employees. I'm like, man, those customers are just
And talk shop, yeah.
and talk shop and like, well, I had to deal with this. How did you solve this? But when you're working at home and the only people that you're talking to are the ones yelling at you, and then your managers who yell at you, and you're like, why am I here? And so it's not great. So, but yeah.
Yeah, you're still trying to recover from that in some ways. But it has made him, like, I am the kind of person that I'm super soft-hearted and want to make sure people are happy with what they get. And then he's like, people are just trying to get stuff out of you.
Well,
He doesn't have a ton of faith. He's lost a lot of faith in humanity in some
yes,
ways.
I will say
That's
that.
how you say it.
But the way that I think a company should act is that 9 times out of 10 you follow the letter of the law, and then as needed, like if the mistake's on you, the company, you shoulder that and you make it right. If the mistake is in miscommunication or this or that, you're like, okay, this is it's written. This is what I can do for you. And the thing is that there's this.
It took me a good year to finally be more on that side of things.
Yeah, and it's just because like there's this expectation of like companies have all of this time and money to just fix problems that
But
small
a small
businesses
business
don't. And then
And then I'd feel so guilty because I couldn't make
yeah,
them happy.
you're like, well, they didn't do what they were supposed to. And you just like, I'm sorry. Did you read the thing? Because it says right here that if you want to return, it's 7 days. It's on the customer to return it. We'll send you back because we had to eat the shipping to get it out to you. And so, anyways, but that's a whole.
And then I
that's a whole thing.
over-explain too much.
Yes, I found customers
He's
do not
gotten
like
upset
it
at me several
whenever
times
you.
for that.
You're like,
I got yelled at by someone because
yeah.
through a chat because I tried to explain why things were the way they were. And then they were like, well, you must have the biggest overhead.
And I was like, no.
And then
they
I
don't.
came to him crying, like, ah.
But what's
He's
funny
like,
is-
you shouldn't have said any of that.
But before you started, I told you not to explain
I know,
it.
but my heart was like, I have to explain why.
And then I was like, I understand but that means you're doing that for you, not for the customer.
That's true.
The customer just
Defending
wants to hear,
myself.
So,
sorry, thank you.
question for you both then.
Uh-huh.
Would you be a proponent of husbands and wives working together in a business? Do you think husband and wife e-commerce businesses or businesses, let's just not even say e-commerce, just husband, wife owned businesses, should they be ran together?
I think it depends on personalities.
Yes. I 100% agree
All right.
that
Well, so that this question doesn't just dead end here. Let's say people have your guys' mentalities, your guys' personalities.
It's strengthened our relationship in a lot of ways.
Yeah?
Because
Yeah.
we have the same focus. I'm not just over here raising our kids and hoping he comes home at a certain time. Like, we're actually working together on creating something and taking care of our family.
So yeah, the biggest benefit to it that I see is that we get to find each other's strengths and weaknesses, and then step in where one person does. It's really built up our relationship because we get to support each other. So where I'm not great, like my English skills are a little lacking, because I don't know if I've ever said that I have dyslexia.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've talked about
Yeah.
it in
Yeah.
podcasts before.
Oh yeah, the Greeks.
Yeah.
So because of the dyslexia thing, I have a hard time writing, which is why ChatGPT is amazing for me.
And he has me proofread everything.
Yeah, so I'll write things up. I'll have Rachel proofread it, and I do that. And so
He pulls me back when I try to explain too much.
yeah, and then with her bleeding heart, which is great in rearing children, but not great in customer service.
I don't. There's sometimes where it's a weakness when I'm raising
Okay,
children.
that's true, too.
Let's be
Like,
honest.
yeah,
Like
when-
this morning.
Yeah, but
We won't go there.
yeah, that's a story for another time. And so because of that, like that picking up where the other person's like lacking and having them pick up where you're lacking is great. It also helps us work on our
Communication skills.
communications, but also like working on disagreements.
Yeah, working through disagreements.
Yeah, because we get to work on that aspect of our relationship, which is important.
Yeah. Because we get to a point where we both think we're right.
Where is the
Who's the final? When you both get to that point, how do you end it?
It takes a few days.
I'm trying to think like examples of where that's happened.
With work stuff, we don't usually have an issue anymore.
It's usually evidence driven, and we kind of let like the issue like work itself out. So when we talk about that, so example, when Rachel had that one where someone's like, "Hey, someone's complaining about this product." I'm like, "Okay, say I'm sorry you feel that way. Let me do this to fix it," and then just say that. And then Rachel was like, "No, I need to explain it." I'm like, "It's gonna go badly for you."
And then it went badly.
And so she's like, "Well, I'll do whatever I want," and she did it, and it went badly. And then I could have been like, "Did I say I told you so?"
You did just
You were a little bit like,
I don't think
might have said.
I don't think I outright said
You
I
didn't
told
say,
you
"I told you so."
but I was kind of like,
Then,
But you were
to
like,
be clear, I think we could rewind. In fact, as you're editing, go back. I'm pretty sure you did just right there. Be like,
no, he
I
didn't say
told
the
you."
words. He didn't say the words, "I told you so," but in not so many words, he said something.
No, I'm saying like right now in the
No, no,
podcast.
Yes,
he
today
said,
he has said that. But we have
That's what I'm saying. So
Yeah,
like,
This
yeah,
is like a year ago. We're very past this episode.
but yeah, now
if he had
now
said
I'm
it in the
vindicated
moment, I would
in
have
it.
been
I just thought it was funny. You were just like, I don't think I told you so. And it's like, you
just
just
did.
did.
I know, but it was one where I was like I illustrated the fact that it happened, and then I was like,
I was right. You were wrong.
yeah, take that.
Well, and then you helped me like
I
figure
helped-
out how to respond in a very minimalist way.
Yes, and so we've developed processes because of that, and so it's more of like we'll implement something, see how it works, and then incorporate that into our processes. So it's never been one where we've had something that just hasn't had where we could test it. So that's actually been really
Only
nice.
in our personal lives.
Yes, but that's
Every couple has issues in that way.
yeah, and that's the nice thing about this is because it's one of those things where you can't where you don't just get an argument and there's no way to see who's actually right or wrong. You can actually get in an argument. It's like, okay, do it, and then you'd be like, ha, because that's healthy for a relationship.
Yeah.
So healthy.
And so then the person that's wrong is like, I'm sorry, you were right, da, 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 and then you move on with life. But
In my case, I'm at times huffing and puffing
oh yeah, you're
as
just
I
kind
walk
of like,
away.
still made me feel better. And I was like, that's why you're crying? And then, no, but it's interesting.
So has there ever been a time where you guys were in business totally like at odds? And because I'm just thinking in a normal business, partnerships usually aren't split 50-50. It's really rare that that's the case. I think maybe not. I could be totally wrong, but usually there's somebody that's like the trump card. There's the senior partner, or there's the person that is responsible for everything, and that the buck stops here.
Depends on what it's about. If it's like more of a design thing with our wood products, I usually have more of the final say.
Why is that?
Because it's her project.
Because it's my project.
So
She'll have suggestions, and I'll be like, no, I
guess
don't
then
want
why
it
is
that way.
it 50-50? I'm not. Again, to be clear, I'm
And
not
then
arguing
there's
whether.
other things where he's the one that's better about it, like pricing or marketing or customer service. Like I let him be the one that's the last say.
we're 50-50.
He has more experience.
Yeah, we're 50-50, but whoever like is the origin of a project or like for lack of a better term, like a department, then final say usually goes to that person. So if she takes on a customer service inquiry, like I can give my input, but at the end of the day, it's her task.
Unless I say, why don't you
Unless she
just
washes
take
her
it?
hands of it and walks away and it's like, I need you to take care of it from here. At
I
which
can't
point
handle it anymore.
I take control and then I have final say. So we do actually
We've done it the other way too, where you've handed something to me.
yeah, if I hit a wall. So we do a really good job about like saying someone's in charge and then letting them guide that. And that might actually be like the key to the success, is that we have that hard, fast rule that at the end of the day, once someone's in charge of a task, it's their task and the other person's just offering their input.
I have this bad habit of saying, we need to do this,
Oh, yeah.
and then getting upset at him for when it doesn't get done, and then I'm realizing I said we.
Yes.
Yeah, was it like a TikTok or something that we watched that was about the different we's? It was a comedian.
Yes, and he's like, I'm sitting in the corner. I don't know if it was
Which we she
or
means.
we. Well,
So
but
yeah, it's like we, me, we, she, or we.
Uh-huh.
And so I'm trying to teach myself how to make sure I don't just say we.
No, because
Interesting.
there was
this.
about a month where Rachel was like, we need to order boxes. I'm like, okay.
We still haven't ordered the boxes.
They're in our Amazon cart. You just need to buy them. She's like, okay, we'll get that done. It's still not done.
Interesting.
We've had a lot of other things on our plate the last month. I
Yeah,
have to say.
but it's
But I did have to send something out that was supposed to go in one of those boxes today, and so I'm a little regretting that it hasn't gotten done yet.
yeah. We'll order them on the way home.
Wait, is that a we me or a we she?
A we,
or
she.
a we?
I'll drive. You can order.
Okay.
But yeah, so like going back to what I was saying earlier, I think the key to how we make it work is by having those.
We have to delegate.
Yeah, having the lanes, and when someone has responsibility for a task or a project, that the other person is just offering input, but at the end of the day, it's their task or project.
Like Dice is you.
Yes.
Dice is you. I get input, but it's him.
Mm-hmm.
He'll have me look over something. I'm like, if you're okay with it, then go ahead and send it.
Now, you guys
with,
recently
like-
you guys made a split in your business in that
To do
you have two different stores.
Our thought was that is because we have two very different focuses in our shop. So like I'm on
Rachel's stuff and my stuff.
Yes, because you're very game oriented.
Yes.
Like D&D.
That's right. You can
and
say
all
nerd.
that
That's fine.
Yeah,
nerdy
nerdy.
stuff.
So yeah.
Whereas I'm very like homemakey religious stuff. And so our fear was we've been starting to realize like I wonder if sometimes when people are looking for religious stuff and they see a D&D dice in the corner of our shop that might take
Satan's
them away.
toys.
Yeah. So we decided it might be a good idea to go ahead and split. But there's still projects like I was the first designer of the tower.
Yeah,
and so
we
I still
we
have
just
heavy
did
input
a
on
dice
that.
rolling tower.
Okay.
That launched, and so she did the original design for that, and then I tweaked it to make it
Yeah,
so
then we
that it
tweaked it
was
together. Functional. More functional.
No, there were some tolerances that are off that I just fixed some tolerances.
And I did a little fixing too.
Yeah,
But you
yeah.
finalized them.
And so like kind of so Rachel does the Stag Mountain one. That's one of her
We
products.
don't really sell that.
But it is
like
one that
it,
is
but it
available.
doesn't get
And then I
sold.
did the levitating dice. So, and then giant dragon skull and 3D printed dragons.
And our Easter tomb thing.
Yeah, and that one sells like hotcakes. So I don't know.
Music tray stand.
Interesting. All
Music
right.
stand trays.
Is there, I guess, right now the demand for the products that Rachel creates versus the demand for the products that you are responsible for? Which one has more of the demand? Is it more?
Depends on the time of year.
During our slow season, my stuff sells more during the slow season. Rachel's stuff sells more during like Christmas to April because we have an Easter themed thing that sells really, really well at the beginning of the year. And then we sell a bunch of stuff around Christmas because we have custom
Yeah, a wide range of things.
custom Christmas ornaments. We have like just we have like a fall tree that sells really well, and
It only sold well last year because of a TikToker, an influencer.
we might have and then maybe some other influencer will find it again, and we can do a bigger one this year because we have a
Yes,
bigger
we
laser
can do a
cutter.
bigger one
So
now.
we actually have to cut that.
I was just
and
thinking
do
we need to start
pictures.
getting on that.
But so it's one of those things that with the two of them working together, it works out pretty well. We didn't do farmers market this year, but it looks like moving
much as I tried to encourage him to.
forward, we'll probably
good
need to
thing
do it
we
next
didn't.
year. But yeah, I assuming no more medical emergencies, we'll probably
Yeah,
do it
that's
next
why
year.
it's good we didn't do it this year.
But no, but yeah. So it's one of those things where each of our products have different strengths and weaknesses, and so they help sell while one is slow and the other one's not. We're hitting a really low point right now. I don't know why no one's buying anything.
But you said you have slower Etsy sales right now too, right?
Mine picked up.
Did they?
So
finally
yeah,
picked up.
I had a slump for a little bit, but I'm kind of back on track to where I was. So
That's good.
and I tweaked some advertising things on Amazon, and
You're back in it.
I'm doing better than I have. So
Yeah, that's our next goal as we're trying to pick back up is working on listings and
I wish Etsy had an ad manager or even a
Or you could choose
software,
what got
third
ads.
party. Yeah, that
Where
it
you
was
had
a little
more things
robust.
where you just like, here's $10, use it however you want.
Yeah, because it's because I mean I think your store's a great example. You have and I know that this isn't the case, but just for argument's sake, and we'll call it this: that you have Satan's toys, then you have God's things. Okay, that it seems unfair that you have say $30 and you're going to spread it out over the course of two totally different audiences. In fact, I would say it's very rare that you have somebody that's like, yes, I want a D&D dice right next to this Easter tomb.
Okay, funny story though. Someone bought a music stand tray
tray.
accessory.
so I make little wood trays that connect to the body of a music stand.
Yeah.
And then
someone
someone
that
bought
and
D&D
a D&D
coasters.
coasters.
Like I said, I'm not saying it's impossible. I just think if
No.
you are that,
And
if
now
you're-
we're splitting our shop, so it'll be hard for them to do that. But
if
that's
you're
the first time
niching
anyone
for
has
that
done
one
that.
customer, you're
No, but I was
yeah, I
really
just-
surprised because it was the first time we've ever sold the
Across
D&D coasters.
genres.
And the fact that they bought both of those at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, I want to know if like they were like, oh man, I could really go for coasters, and they found the music stand tray.
yeah. Which
No,
one
the
was
music
first?
tray
Chicken egg.
is first.
Well, that's
it
the
was
one they
listed
bought
first. It's the
first.
one listed first in their order. Anyway, so that's usually more a niche product that you only look for if you want that. Because like only woodwind players use those.
Oh, that's true. So it could have been that they.
So he probably
found-
was looking for that and
He
then
found
saw.
the music stand tray and then saw the coasters and then bought that. But it's still funny to me that
Yeah.
they bought both of those at the same time.
But as I'm finding, so I have two Etsy stores as well. I have my sports Etsy store, and then I have my pet decor, we'll call it.
Okay.
The app, the Etsy seller app, is not dual account friendly.
No.
It's one or the
hard.
other, right?
Yeah, you got to switch back and forth.
And so as I'm trying to figure out how many times my sports items are getting favorited to kind of judge how much to either push towards it, then I have to completely abandon, or now I have to have two devices, right? So I have my iPad is signed into my sports store, and then my phone is signed into my pet decor store. But it's just those things that are like from an Amazon, and of course, my experience lies in Amazon, so I relate everything back to that. Amazon's, you can have multiple stores on one app. So I have this one, let's see if I can show it without.
Showing off too much.
it's totally blank, but I have like this pull down of the stores that I can see, and then I can switch all while staying in the app and staying logged in.
Do you get notifications from all of them?
Yeah, I can get notifications for both. So
that is one thing I would like about this.
Right? It would be sweet if
Because Etsy's been around for a long time. I wonder why they haven't incorporated that. It isn't like, I don't know if it's just the audience of people who use Etsy are more niche creators and they're not worried about it, or like they don't want to spend the money on creating the product.
I have to think that it's definitely, I'm totally guessing, but my guess is that it's part of this whole stay in your lane kind of thing, of where they say, we don't want to compete with Amazon in the third-party seller realm to where anybody can list any kind of product. We like the you make it, you sell it kind of realm. And I think that because of that, it's less geared towards the people with multiple accounts and multiple different products. You're usually going to create a wood type product, and then all of your wood products maybe sell, or all of your wood metalworking products, rather than two different type of genre products. But that's like total guess.
It makes sense.
It wouldn't seem like they don't want to spend the money on it, because I mean they're spending money on, like, Etsy is very lenient, I guess, when it comes to citing for the buyer or the seller. Like, there's been cases where I shipped it, I showed tracking, proof that it shipped, and proof that it was delivered. The customer said they never got it. Etsy refunded the customer, but that money didn't come out of my account. Etsy took
We've
care
had
of
that
it,
happen a couple
right?
times. Yeah.
Amazon's not that way. It's somebody's on the hook for it, and it's usually the seller, right? They're very buyer friendly, very harsh against sellers. But Etsy's not that way, and so I think that you wouldn't do that if you were bleeding money, right? You wouldn't do that if you were like conscious of.
I don't think they're bleeding money.
I would doubt it.
So we have, how many listings do you think we have between all of our stores? Like,
I think mine has at least 20.
and then I have 12 on mine, so we have 32.
And we're paying several, like, what is it, 20 cents?
Yeah, it's 20 cents a listing. So like they get just passively
A lot of money for
like
listings that don't sell.
$6.30 a month passively from us. So like,
And then all the fees and stuff that they take out whenever something's ordered.
and then at the end of the day, you're looking at probably between a 12 to like 20% like seller's fees. So like they're making a decent amount of money.
Etsy's market cap is almost 11 billion.
Oh, they're doing fine.
Oh, yeah.
They're doing fine.
They're publicly traded. They're down 4% today, but that's neither here nor there. Yeah, 3.5 actually.
Invest in Etsy.
was a
Well, not right
summary.
now because they're on down, because it's not selling.
No, like, buy it now. It's down.
Oh yeah, buy down, sell high.
It opened at 91 and it closed today at 88.
Yeah. So
Short them. I don't know. Anyway, that's Etsy, Amazon.
I find it fascinating though with that is that like with our group of entrepreneurs, like no one really messed with Etsy at all.
No.
But that's where I've found my niche is there. And
I did it to unload. So my first Etsy store got shut down because I was slaying it with what do you call those?
supplements.
Dietary supplements.
Ooh.
It was hopping. I have never sold something so fast. It was crazy. And from everywhere, Canada, Great Britain, like everybody wanted these things at the insane prices that they were. But according to the terms and conditions and the cease and desist that I got.
Question for you.
Yeah.
Is there any way that you could find those supplements sold through third party through Alibaba and then create your own brand?
No.
You don't think so?
No, because the thing that people were buying, this is kind of a knock on MLMs, right? This comment that I'm about to say. the stuff that we're buying, it's not the stuff that's inside it. I mean, it is, but the brand name that's associated with it is what they're buying.
Okay, so that's what they wanted.
Yeah, I mean, it's
So you were essentially, like, for lack of a better term, like selling Paul Mitchell, like, hair products
pretty much.
without Paul Mitchell's permission.
Basically, yeah, let's just say I was buying McDonald's through the drive-thru and then turn around and selling a Big Mac for 3x.
That's insane.
Yeah, it was nuts.
Well, I guess if you didn't want to pay the monthly subscription, but you still like the supplements.
And that's where it is. That's where people don't want, right? Because the MLM mentality is you have the subscription, and then if you don't stay up to date with it, or if you're not using it a lot, then they still get your money somehow. And people like the products, but they
Hate the atmosphere of MLMs.
right. And so I was offering it at it was like sometimes it was as high as 5x. And these things they weren't cheap. I mean, they cost me a pretty penny to
Yeah, but if
acquire
you're
them.
making 5 times what you're using to acquire them, you're doing pretty well.
Still though, I mean, it was insane and I remember getting a delivery from my supplier and this one product, and it was 6. I got 6 units. So I marketed Etsy as having 6. I sold them within an hour. And then I was like, I wonder if I do 12 more. I put 12 down. I sold 12 in 2 hours. So
Wow.
we've
never had something sell that fast.
I had sold 6 and then sold an additional 12 within like 4 hours total time. And then having to call my supplier and be like, hey, how soon could I get 12 more? And he's like, maybe a couple weeks. I was like, cool. So I just totally black hat. Like I totally deserved the suspension that I got. Which I shouldn't have wasted my good store name on this anyway.
One that got just
Yeah, because now I can't use it. And anyway, so I printed out the labels and just sat on them until I got the product so that it showed as shipped, but then the delivery. And anyway, but the customers they got their stuff, everything was fine, and they were happy to wait with it. And I even reached out to them saying, hey, there's been a delay, this and that, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, it was crazy. And then I loved it because Etsy, you can get paid next day on your stuff if you want. And so,
yeah, you just have to request it.
Yep. And so I chose the daily drop option, and it was
a comfortable chapter.
Things looked up and up because I was like trying to scale it, thinking about, if I did this, then let's get a pallet of these bad Bama Jammas, and then I could really just rock it.
So here's my question. Is it because of the quantities you started moving is what brought in the supplier's attention, or what do you think did it?
Man. Full tinfoil hat? Mm-hmm. Absolutely. They probably went on these marketplaces, because Amazon was another place. I got a cease and desist for selling it on Amazon as well. Mm-hmm. And Amazon was even crazier because I would throw it into FBA and it would just fly. In fact, sometimes Amazon, you'll mark something as sent in, and it'll be an inbound quantity, and people can purchase your stuff while it's inbound. And I had done 2 shipments inbound, and all of them had pending orders for the stuff that I sent in. So it was like 2 orders of 6, and 12 were sold on waiting for that processing through Amazon. And it took it was like
nuts.
2-3 weeks.
Wow.
So I think what happened is this company goes onto the sites, Amazon, Etsy, eBay, types in the product, finds the sellers that are doing it, and then just blanket markets, contacts their lawyers and say, we want to send cease and desist to all these people. Or they probably tell their lawyers, hey, somebody's selling our products, find out. And the lawyers do all that legwork, right? Mm-hmm. So the cease and desist that I got, I say, if you haven't got a cease and desist yet, you're not trying hard enough. That's my...
We've gotten one.
Have we gotten a cease and desist?
Not necessarily a cease and desist, but we had
warning?
Yeah. Our shop got...
Oh, yeah.
Our listing got taken down.
Okay.
Wallet.
They kept the lawyers out. They just went straight
they just went straight to...
They went and told the teacher on us.
Yeah. So...
But we did the same thing.
The cease and desist was enough for me. Like, technically, I was not in violation of any trademark. I was only in violation of the terms and conditions for the company of the product that I was selling. Because in there, it's in the fine print, it says you can't sell this. And whatever. But I was told by the person that pitched the idea that we had an okay agreement with the company to do this because it was moving product and there was no, anyway.
But anyways,
Should we talk about that while Anthony is not here?
talk about what?
The things I gave up to do your business. Our
business. You didn't give it up to do just my business. But what? So
this has always been your dream to be self-employed. And I felt like it was very important for me to support you in that because you had been through the ringer the last few years
at that other job
with work. And you just kept having to do other jobs and kept getting laid off or hating it, so you quit. So I knew it was important for you to start having something that you could actually thrive in. And so I was like, yeah, let's do it. Yes, we're sacrificing consistent income, benefits, all that. But it was important to me that you have success, find success if we can. And then we ended up actually getting busy in that first Easter season of the business and then Christmas and this last Easter season. And so I've had to put a lot of the little side gigs I was doing to the side to focus on the business, which in a lot of ways I was totally fine doing. But I did enjoy those parts of myself, my photography and my music. And I still do a little bit, but like my photography, I would do like one thing every 3 months. That's it. So it's been an interesting.
If you want to, like now that we have a more like balanced idea of like when we'll be busy and when we're not, you can now work around on scheduling your side things.
I know.
So, because you have about 6 to 8 months.
But the music stuff is only during our busy season.
That's true.
So I have to be limited on what I do there. Because our busy season is the same season as orchestras. The summer, I could probably do more photography during the summer, but then again, it's.
And you still get to do the Rexburg one.
Oh yeah, I'm still doing the Rexburg one. That's just, I stopped doing as much of the paid gig stuff because it was more stressful and it's easier for them to find a good replacement. And I was only playing second versus playing first in the Rexburg one. But it's been a very interesting year of transition into setting aside some of those things that I really enjoyed. Like taking on a regular job. So, and then time with the kids during our busy season. I really miss quality time with the kids.
I get to spend more quality time with the kids though, so I actually really like it.
You do. The girls love it.
I
It's
gotta
been
be
a
more
super
part of
big
their lives.
blessing for our family in that respect.
I love being part of their lives. That I didn't get that chance before.
Because you're always gone. What's funny is that growing up, my dad worked 4/10s. And then he traveled an hour to and from his job.
So he was gone 12 hours a day.
He was gone 12 hours a day. He left at like 5 in the morning, so he was home by 6:30 every day. But he always, I was in college, no, just fresh out of college, we went on a long hike, and he was always like, I always wished I was home more. And I was like, I never felt like he really wasn't part of our lives. Because when he was home, he was involved. So there's that.
Yeah.
But I also love being able to co-parent with our kids more.
Yeah.
I get breaks now.
I like playing with our children. It's fun.
Yeah.
I wouldn't give that up for anything. Watching them grow and progress and become people. But
yeah,
besides the
other
customer
than
service,
the biggest arguments we've had have been belief systems being challenged. Like something I believe is right is the one that I feel personally attacked if you don't believe it too, kind of thing. And that's, our business is not that way at all. It's a lot more logical.
Yeah, it's just kind of like, hey, let's do this, let's do that, let's change this. The only one that I think could have led to an argument but never did was when we decided to split the stores. Like, because we both wanted to keep the main store.
Oh yeah. Which, in hindsight, we probably should have let you keep the main store name.
But once again, like I don't care enough to argue about that. It's such little
It
semantics.
makes me
that
so sad that we don't have the 3D on our shop anymore.
we'll have it in like 6 months.
So when we decided to split our shop into two, we were trying to decide which product needed to stay in the original shop because it sold better there and you had the traction from the original product. So we knew the tomb was one of our huge sellers, and so we had decided to keep my stuff in the original shop and move over Brian's stuff to a different one because the dice sell
Yeah, just
consistently.
because I'm the only one that sells something like this, and so because of that, there's not a lot of other competition. So SEO is not as important because there's
Yeah.
not that much competition.
Yeah, so, but we came into an issue where I changed the name of my shop, but it like Etsy does this thing where it leaves both names tied to the shop for a certain amount of time. So we couldn't rename Brian's shop as that full
As the
Factory Factory
original
3D as
shop.
the original because the original shop still had the name tied to it. So we're hoping in 6 months that we'll be able to add that 3D back in.
Yeah,
But
and we need to get all the change flipped over before the holiday season, so because as
so
soon
that we
as you
don't
hit
lose our
the holidays, then things start selling really well, and then we can get the traction back on our new shop. So,
So that
That's
was
that.
sad but interesting.
but yeah, that was the only one where like I was like, I kind of want to keep the shop, and you're like, but I want to keep the shop, and
Yeah, it could have become an argument.
but it wasn't worth it to me, so I didn't allow it to get there. So I think that's like the big thing is that you need to
Learn how to compromise.
have that ability to separate like personal feelings.
When it's business related.
Yeah, and not turn something into a bigger problem than it needs to be.
Yeah.
Like that shop.
I mean,
'Cause-
there's still moments that feel personal when I feel like I'm doing more work than you.
oh, I'm sorry.
But usually it's next day we're past it.
Oh, I know. You're very obvious. When it's kind of like you make a little like passing remark, and I'm like, well, hey, my hat matches my shirt.
Oh, good job coordinating.
No, I'm apparently very basic.
Monotone.
Oh, I wanted green today, so I grabbed a green hat and I grabbed a green shirt.
Is it because it's so cloudy right now?
No, I was actually seeing if it stopped raining so I could go maybe hit a bucket of balls today. I want to get my golf swing down. I'm just waiting for Anthony, and then we can wrap up this podcast.
I got to go home and try to get our daughter to go potty.
It's true. I'm probably going to cut that out.
That's fine.
Oh, man.
This whole like we've ran out of things to talk about. We should just probably cut all of it.
Oh, no, we're at time. I'm going to leave a lot of this in. This has been a fun podcast. It went all over the place. I do want to talk about cutting corners, though.
Do it with Thomas. He'd
I'm
probably have a
going to.
lot to say about that.
I do. I think that would be a really fun podcast.
You definitely should do that.
He's still talking.
He is still talking. That's okay. We're married. We can figure out things to talk about.
Just waiting for him to get back so we can wrap up.
Like seeing your success and the growth and joy you get in this business has definitely been worth it. All of it. Maybe that's one reason why we do so well with this, because part of my motivation is helping you succeed. Which is an important thing in marriage, is trying to help the other spouse succeed.
It's true.
Help them become a better person.
Do you want to wait for Anthony or just wrap it up?
We could do a little mini wrap up of ourselves, and then if he comes back in 5 minutes, do a second version.
Okay. Here's the alone version. Well, thank you so much for watching. If you have any ideas on subjects that you want us to talk about, please leave that in the comments. I read all of them.
The
Also,
few that you get.
yeah, we're actually
Are you getting a good number now?
we get 1 to 3 all across all of our platforms.
Cool.
The podcast is available. Video form is available on YouTube. Audio is available essentially everywhere audio podcasts are available. Like, comment, subscribe. Helps us with the algorithm so people can find us.
Hopefully he doesn't have any more life-threatening health issues that'll give you guys a month hiatus.
We are now 5 episodes away from being in the top 99% of podcasts.
Oh, yeah, because you have to do 20.
You have to do 20. This is 15. Yes. So we're 5 away from being in the top 99%. Help us get there.
I thought the last one you did was 13.
The last one I released was 13.
Oh, okay. So you have to edit 14.
We have 14 shot.
We just talked about that on the way here, how he
yeah.
was like, the 13, it was unlucky. That's when he had all this.
That
health
was the
issues
last
come up.
episode I edited was episode 13, and then it ran out. And then everything went to
Hit the fan.
pot. Yeah, and then I didn't want to edit another episode until I had another one shot. So that's the reason
that's why
why
you've been waiting.
we kind of been on a hiatus. But we got the new one shot. I'm editing the new one now. Everything's being transferred onto my computer. Yeah, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next week.
We didn't give our final thoughts yet.
Oh, final thoughts. What are your final thoughts?
Are you just going to do the part that we said before, right before this?
That was my plan.
Okay, that's fine.
What are your final thoughts?
Oh, well, I was just going to say, if you decide to go in business with your spouse, make sure that your personalities are going to work well in that situation, that you're going to have a healthy amount of compromise, because you're going to have different opinions. You're two different people working on the same thing. And like we said earlier, like knowing how to delegate certain projects or tasks to each other so that that's the thing you're in charge of, but allowing input, healthy input too.
Mm-hmm.
And compartmentalizing a little bit.
Yeah.
Like making sure that you don't take business stuff personally or make that affect your marriage.
Because we've never had a business argument last.
More than a day.
I don't even know if it's made it
More than a few hours.
Yeah, past sleeping.
I am a grudge holder, so it goes.
You have, I haven't. But
you know me, I like dwell on things for ever and ever, and it's unhealthy. You have to kick me out of those moods.
Yeah, that's true. I have a unique perspective that I don't have. In my mind, I only have a certain amount of time to worry about any given subject. Mm-hmm. And if it starts to fester, I clear it out.
That's one of the interesting things about your steroids is you over-focused on things more than you used to.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I would hyper-focus on a problem.
Yeah.
And I would feel like I would need to solve it.
Even if it didn't actually need to be solved.
Yeah, but...
We had 3 arguments in one weekend because of it.
Yeah.
About the same thing.
But to be fair, the last time it was an argument, you were the one that brought it up.
I did bring it up. It was my fault.
Yeah, and so that I was...
Because I was still hyperfixating on it myself.
Yeah.
Okay, your final thoughts.
My final thoughts is, don't... What I was saying before is you need to, be able to move on. Mm-hmm. If there's a problem, work on it, focus it, find a solution. Once the solution is solved, then just package it up and get rid of it. Don't focus on it. Don't bring it back, because it's never a good thing. And if you do that, then you can live a happier life, because you're not constantly hauling around a bag of garbage with you everywhere you go.
Yeah.
And constantly look, this smells horrible. So no one
You said something about strengthening their, supporting their strengths.
Oh yeah,
earlier.
and supporting their strengths. Like you need to be that person who
I hear him coming
he's
now.
coming back.
Good, he can say his last word.
You want to be that person who you want to support your spouse's strengths and weaknesses. Well, you want to support her weaknesses, and you want her to support yours. And you do that, you can both become stronger. Synergy and all that jazz.
Okay, you got to give your final words. We got to get home in 10 minutes for the babysitter.
Any last questions?
Do
Thoughts?
great things. Go team.
So you were kind of our mediator, listening in on us talking about spousal relationships in business. Final thoughts on like.
Anything you learned from that you'll apply?
I ran up the stairs, so I'm a little out of breath. No, you guys are doing well.
Awesome.
Do great things.
And then I already recorded an outro, so I'll just put that at the end.
Okay. Bye.